Hello and welcome back to another Warlock's Tower battle report. So we're back with 9th Age and we've got Verminous Swarm versus the excellently painted Dread Elves of my friend James. And yeah, some pretty different lists. There's a heck of a lot of infantry running around on the tables and relatively few monsters compared with before. So yeah, let's get into this and let's talk about what's going on. So what we've got is James's my right flank, so James's left flank. We've got a unit of shades, I think 7 of them, just as they come. Then behind that is a bolt thrower. Represented by the Witch Elf models is a unit of Yima, and they have the gladiator weapons, obviously. So they are your pocket knife. They've got great weapons. They've got spears. They've got shields. They've got paired weapons. And in them is a Yima chariot, which is the BSB, so the cauldron. So that kicks out killing blow or reroll if you already have killing blow within a radius, and can give 5+ ward save against artillery, and or rather it can allow you to re-roll charge distances. So pretty useful, pretty fighty. It's also got the gladiator weapons on the BSB, and it's got the Cloak of Twilight, so it's got 3 up against shooting and D3 wounds on the first turn. So yeah, and killing blow, which allows it to re-roll. So pretty decent. Next to that is 40 spears with full command, and then on from that is 20, I think, crossbows with a level 4 as would have been in 8th. So 4 spells, Wizard Master with the Focus Familiar on Witchcraft. Now we've both selected Witchcraft, which is a bit of a change for us. Excuse a blurry photo. Then on the other flank there's 2 bolt throwers, a unit of shades again, and a unit of Yima warlocks, as was in the old or 8th edition. So for my setup, I start with some foot pads. So they come with slings. They're basically musician, but otherwise stock standard. But basically, I've taken them as a fast scoring unit. In this situation, I'm just basically blocking his scouts from deploying on my left flank. So basically my first drop. And then similar sort of reasoning behind the other unit of foot pads. So yeah, and then they've got 2 abominations in front of them. Basically, the plan with those is to throw them forward. I think they're going to die fighting any of his combat units, but they're going to make a mess. I think the BSB kills them before they go, so they're going to be aimed pretty squarely at the crossbows and at the spearmen. Next to them is a Plague Court catapult. It's got 2 rat swarms behind them, and then next to them is a unit of 8 globadiers. On from that is a unit of Plague Brotherhood with the Grey Seer front right. So he's also on Witchcraft. 4 spells, the Book, and Wizard Master, so he's +3 to cast. So yeah, he's a pretty decent caster. Then next to that we have some Spear Clan Rats, and they have the Assassin, classic Lethal Strike, Potion of Strength on the left. And then on the right, on a War Litter, is my General, and he is a Tyrant. He has the Putrid Plate, so he's kicking out toxic attacks when he makes his rather tasty 1-up save. And he has a shield and the sword, which gives +3 attacks when I have more ranks than the opponent. And also he has the Armlet of Power, so he gets on a 3 bound spell, he doubles his strength, so potentially 7 strength 8 attacks, and then something similar from the Assassin as well. So potentially those guys kick out a ton of attacks, but basically at the moment, due to the short range of Witchcraft, the Seers at the front, behind those 2 units is a Slave Rat bunker. On the right of the Clan Rats with Spears is another unit of Globadiers, again 8, and the other side of the Impassable Train is a Rat Swarm. So yeah, basically cornered up. He dropped all his units. I'm slightly scared of the Yuma unit. I think if I can get my A-bombs to deal with his spears and or the Plague Claw to deal with his spears, then that should be all good. Oh, very importantly, behind the Globadiers is a Warp Lightning Cannon just poking out there. So on with the first turn, as I kind of hinted at, the two A-bombs are pointed towards his lines and sent flying. They do a pretty good job. They get about halfway, which is kind of all you can expect. And that's about all the movement I do in my first turn. So the shooting comes around, and I chip 2 wounds off of the repeated bolt thrower. The Plague Claw catapult misfires and does 1 wound to itself, but I can continue shooting, so it's not the end of the world, but the miss is more of a problem. I moved forward, not a lot of photos I'm afraid, but basically my only movement was to move the 2 A-bombs forward, and he moved backwards from them. This is actually the start of his turn 2. James won the roll-off to go first by basically dropping his whole army, and elected to go second, which, yeah, I think is a smart move. It's not that much long-range shooting he's got to weather before I come in. He pushes up on his left flank, which I'm reasonably pleased about. I can push the footpads forward and shoot a bit into the Corsair Shades without taking any shooting back from them. And then if he's shooting the footpads with his repeated bolt throwers, he's not shooting the A-bomb, so I don't mind that. So I think this is good for me when he first moves up. The only slight problem is the A-bomb on the left, the abomination on the left, just unbelievable to me. He puts the Doombolt type spell in the strength 5. I think I let it go, figuring 7 hits average, does wounding on 4, so that goes down to 3.5. I save 1, so he might take 1 or 2 wounds off it. That plows through 3 wounds. He then puts in the breath weapon from the same girls. I try and dispel, fail to dispel. Then he casts the 2d6 magic spell, and again he gets it off. So terrible magic phase. I checked all my dice and just rolled really badly. It gets 3 spells off, including 2 from a level 1. So yeah, and then he gets the breath weapon. He does a wound with the breath weapon, so I'm down to 2 wounds, and the shooting finishes him off. So an A-bomb down in 1 turn. I really didn't think that was very likely. So yeah, big problem, really big problem. And then the gold coin in front of the other abomination is a -1 movement from the witchcraft spell on him. So yeah, quite nasty problem. So in my turn, with the -1, I choose to try and push these 2 units away. I look at it and I think I'm just not going to get into the spears straight away. It also gives me the cover of the wood, so yeah, just choose to threaten those units. The footpads move forward brilliantly. They chip off a couple of shades. He fails his panic test and runs, so that was mighty amusing to me. So yeah, that's really good. That means I'm threatening his warlocks, and he's got -1 to hit me because of the trees for the repeated bolt throw. So yeah, I don't mind that. I can live with that. Then I slide forward slightly with most of my units, basically to bring the -1 to hit spell into range from the seer on the front right of that unit. The little red dot you can see in front of the Plague Claw catapult is the Globadiers have moved forward to that point, but the train is just too awkward to fit them in. So yeah, pretty cagey start from both of us, really. So he then pushes his warlocks right in the face of my footpads. Basically, before the game, we'd been laughing about how the footpads shooting the slings was really nothing. But as you can see, they killed those 2 Corsairs, and they have fled. So they've gone right off the board, right to the edge of the board. I think they were half an inch onto the board, something like that. So yeah, pretty funny. I know James's intention is to make me either charge down the hill into those warlocks and get decimated, or he thinks he can weather the shooting with that 4-up ward. So we shall see how that pans out. Yeah, it looks pretty scary for the footpads. Next up, I push forward with the Globadiers. I mean, in some respects, they're just chaff in this matchup. There's no monsters, there's no nothing which can really threaten. So if they can chop a couple of wounds off here and there and just be annoying and chaff, then I'm reasonably happy. Unfortunately, yeah, without a big target outside of a unit, obviously they'd be great against the chariot. Actually, I'm now thinking, can I target the chariot, it being a war platform in a unit? That's another story. I didn't think of it at the time. Comment below if I can target the chariot within the unit. That'd be pretty handy. So yeah, so I move forward. I throw some globes at the Corsairs and at the witches. I think I chip a couple off the witches. The A-bomb, as you can see, has a good run at the spears. I think it was a reasonably high roll, and I didn't quite make it, but I presume I'm going to get charged next turn, which I don't really mind. The Plague-Claw Catapult was 2d6 random move from the wizard, so yeah, that's a bit of a shame. So he didn't fire again. The lightning cannon missed, and so we shot the footpads. Both units shot at the warlocks and decimated them. So it just leaves the champion standing. So unfortunately, that's the wizard. But yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And then best of all, he fails his panic test and runs. So obviously broke in my turn, so he'll get to rally. But what a great result! Awesome. And yeah, even if it had been left on his own, I think if it charged me, I'd have been okay with that. So yeah, pretty chuffed with that. Yeah, this picture is quite a key one. He decides in its turn to charge his harpies over the top into my Globadiers, and interestingly, because they stun and shoot, even though they're quick to fire, he's got the unit in the way when he's charging. So yeah, heaps of cover, and I do nothing. I don't mind him charging. I've got heavy armor. I know they get 2 attacks each, but I get 8 attacks. They get 8 attacks as well. So to my mind, it's pretty even on the amount of attacks, but I've got the advantage that I've got heavy armor, so I thought I'd weather that storm pretty well. And I'm within leadership bubble, so yeah, I thought it'd be okay. So yeah, the warlock rallies, and initially we thought the breath weapon did for me, and I ran away. However, we then remembered she'd rallied and therefore couldn't use a shooting attack. So I actually put the models back on, and I wouldn't have taken a panic test. So yeah. So the harpies charge in, and the spears charge in. The crossbows move down off the hill, predominantly to get that. Those 2 gold coins are end of the game. They are objectives, so quite important. The Yima girls move forward. The Corsairs back off from the Globadiers and shoot 4 of them off. The other thing I should say is the Tyrant on the Warlitter has the Crown of Autarky, so he is leadership 8. So that's pretty decent. Obviously, if you get some ranks in there as well, really good. So yeah, I really like that makeup. So yeah, it's pretty fighty. Gracie drops back into the Clan Rats, and the Assassin slides across, give both units the option of fighting. The Harpies do a number on the Clan Rats. They killed 1, I killed 1, so they won by charge. I broke on 11 or 12, I think I rolled, and they got run down. They're just short of running into the Rat Swarm. So yeah, obviously there's a very large fighting unit there, so they're probably going to get their butt kicked, but that means the Plague Brotherhood have to come out and play, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Globadiers move round and fail to kill any Corsairs, and the Rat Swarm, who've taken 4 wounds in the first turn actually from shooting from the Corsairs, move forward and just stun away, sell themselves dearly for the girls of Yima to charge into. if they so wish. I also managed to cast the 2d6 random move spell on those guys, so yeah, it means they need to roll a 5 to get into the Rat Swarm, but it gives me an option. I've seen people fail 5s before, so yeah, stand 5 away means they don't automatically pass with their random move, so they don't automatically pass. So yeah, it's pretty good. I take some wounds from shooting previously, taking a couple of wounds. So I took a wound off the spears and destroyed rank, passed my stubborn test. If you're wondering, the blonde, yellow-haired elf is what we're using for a focus familiar. So the Plague Brotherhood obviously decimate the harpies without taking a wound, and then reform to face the Yima. Again, Plague Claw misfired and can't shoot next turn, which is a real problem. The Plague Claw working well in this game would have been absolutely amazing, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. Yima girls charge in, and obviously that's a one-sided combat, but they're going to overrun maximum 2d6, so they're going to get flanked. We actually looked it up, and we're like, being random movers, do they have to overrun? But we read it that they didn't, so I think that's a correct application of the rules. The spears reform to go deep to they're not gaining any attacks now because the guys at the back have died, so no point being horde. Warlock whizzes round to be extra safe, just in case the footpads get. They're going to get breath weapon because she can breath weapon and a shooting attack before she's going to get it this turn, so they're very likely to be taking a panic test. Yeah, so she breath weapons them off. I think she destroys them, or they run. Either way, the footpads are out of the game. Oh, they get breath weapon, run forward, and then get shot by the bolt throwers and just get decimated. The Plague Brotherhood and the Clan Rats declare a charge. I really thought I needed both. I thought the Plague Brotherhood would have taken off quite a few wounds from the Yima, and then the Clan Rats ranks and the Tyrant. He's pretty fighty. Would have done quite a lot. I failed to get the -1 to hit on the Yima, so yeah, quite a big problem. The Yima break the Clan Rats, run them down. Oh no, they ran just short and then could charge in the next turn because they run a move as they destroy it, but they can't redeclare into my Clan Rats, which I guess is a good thing. The spears move over to guarantee themselves the objective. Yeah, it's looking a very one-sided fight. He's got good control of the objective. Almost inevitable he's going to take both. Basically, at this point, I've unfortunately forgotten to take, or didn't take photos. It was quite a late game. I do apologise. I was pretty tired. So the Clan Rats charged into the Yuma girls. It was actually quite a close combat to start with. I got the bounce spell off. Actually, big dice it, just chucked 4 or 5 dice at it, chucked the rest at -1 to hit, and failed on that. But that means he's hitting on 3s, killing on 2s. So it's pretty good with 8 attacks. So he took out quite a lot of the Yuma girls. They took out an absolute ton of Clan Rats. They elected to go with halberds, so they're hitting on 2s, killing on 3s. The Cauldron, because I didn't want it swinging over while it was doing D3 wounds, I pinned it in place, but that meant it had to be in combat. So yeah, it was pretty painful. The Clan Rats got broken, got run down, and I took my... We didn't even count it out, but I suspect if it wasn't a 20-0, it was very close to. It was quite a battering the Clan Rats took. Which comes down to a few things. I've actually submitted, or we both submitted these lists to a tournament, so hopefully you'll see 6 games from 5 games, 6 games from that. And another game with my list. I'm playing some Orcs and Goblins next week, so you'll get that as well with the same list. Basically, the Plague Crawl Catapult and the lightning cannon. Oh, that destroyed itself. So they misfired 3 times in the game and hit once, which didn't kill anything. So that's an awful lot of points and an awful lot of abilities sat there doing nothing. So it's a bit of a problem really when that happens, because if I hit the spears, I really should take out 8 with the Plague Claw. In hindsight, maybe I should have been firing the Warp Lightning Cannon at the chariot if I can pick it out. Again, if you can comment on that below, that'd be great. I thought it being a wall platform, I can't target it, but I'm now starting to doubt myself. The short range of the Witchcraft, particularly the 2d6 spell, 2d6 movement spell, was a bit of a disadvantage. It was a 7 on the dice to get my clan rats into combat as well, which obviously is average, should happen, and it failed. So it would have been really interesting to see that combat, but wasn't to be, unfortunately. So yeah, James played it pretty well. It was a very strange game from my side. I don't think I'll take too much away from the game as regards how terrible or otherwise the list is. I don't think the A-bomb should have died on the first turn, and therefore would have soaked up some shooting for the second turn. I obviously misfiring 3 times with 2 artillery pieces and only hitting once is not great. But on the other side of my luck, I can't complain about my luck because the footpad's phenomenal. Now, it would seem logical to say, well, footpads are great and artillery is terrible in the Verminous Swarm list. I don't think this is the case. I think that is the reverse, but it's funny how the dice sometimes play tricks on you. So I'm still reasonably confident with the build. The gentleman I'm playing next week, McRae, is a very competent player. So if you want to see some Orcs and Goblins well played, and hopefully me doing a slightly better job with the photos, do apologise for the quality of the photos this week, then tune in again. Subscribe, like this. Talk to you soon. Bye.